Today on Showtime College Football, is the Clemson Dynasty officially dead? Coming up next. Alrighty, everyone. Next up on Showtime College Football, we're going to be talking about why the Clemson Dynasty is dead and dying. Now, first, we got to realize what was the Clemson Dynasty. The Clemson Dynasty was 2 national championships, 4 national championship game appearances, 6 playoff appearances in a row in the 4-team college football, and 6 straight ACC championships, not championship games, championships. And by the way, that was all in a 6-year span. Yes, all of these stats I just said was from 2014 to 2020. This is insane. This dynasty that happened, we watched right kind of bordering the Alabama dynasty at the same exact time, Georgia kind of starting up a little bit. But this is all to say the dynasty has been dying since 2020. Clemson as a program will not go away. They still have productive years to come. However, the dynasty, we could say, in reflection, is over.
No, I completely agree. Like Chase said, it has been dying since that 2020 season, COVID. You know, since the 2019 season when they played LSU in the championship, I just feel their offense has been so stagnant. It hasn't been able to really get the ball moving, or it hasn't been able to perform in big games. Yes, Cade Klubnik put up great numbers last season, but this season and other seasons, it just hasn't been enough. You know, you had DJ Uwangalele. That's enough said. We don't really need to dive into that. We all know how that went. You know, and Cade Klubnik, I love Cade. He's the only part of Clemson that I really kind of cheer for, but he may have been the most overrated quarterback coming in besides Arch Manning coming into this year. I just have not been too impressed. Even I bought into the hype, and I just haven't even been impressed with him. You know, they scored the same amount as Florida did against LSU, and Florida threw 5 interceptions, and I think they had a fumble or 2 as well. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And the offense also struggled against Troy. I don't even think, did they even have points at halftime? I don't even know if they did.
They did, yes, but it was
very little. It's just I don't know if this offense is able to keep up with all these other offenses. And it showed against Georgia Tech. You know, Georgia Tech's offense looked a lot more efficient than Clemson. Clemson had that huge play to kind of tie the game up. But other than that, it just was very stagnant. And it kind of raises the question, is it Dabo? You know, they have every recruit that they want. But I think a huge part of it is the transfer portal. And Chase has something on that if you want to share your thoughts on that before I share mine.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at, what did we say at the start of this year? That LSU-Clemson game was going to be trivial for, we've seen the transfer portal now for 6-7 years, and we've had enough time to really, every coach has had plenty of time to now adjust. All right, how do you balance your high school recruits and the transfer portal? And we were talking about Clemson, your blue chip recruits and Clemson, and transfer portal guys. So Clemson will still bring in those blue chip recruits. We know that. Clemson, at least for a while, will still do that. However, you have to use the portal at least in some degree. You don't have to use it 50-50. You don't have to overuse the portal, but Dabo needs to use it. He's got to get more than 3 guys. He got 3 guys this year, which was an improvement from 0 guys the year before, but he needs to use it. It's a problem. And you can't reload in this era of college football like that when other teams are gaining guys so fast in the portal, moving up from G5 teams or even FCS teams up to these Power 4 teams. You really just need to adjust. And we've seen that. LSU went in and beat Clemson, and Clemson, you could argue, had better recruits overall, but LSU brought in 20 transfer portal guys, and they won that game. I mean, I know it's one game, but it was interesting to see the direct polar opposites play each other, and you've seen how it's worked out. Now, LSU, I have my thoughts on LSU, but look at LSU right now. They're having a great start to the year, and you can see that Dabo needs to use the transfer portal, or he needs to leave. I mean, he needs to be done. It's college football's changed. Wanted to give a quick shout out to the guys over at SeatGeek for helping us out. Use our code ShowtimeCFB for $20 off your next ticket purchase, talking about all college football games, going to Texas A&M, South Carolina, Texas A&M is only $60 right now. You're telling me you can get that for 40? Man, use that extra money for some popcorn or some glizzies at the game. Yes, use our code Showtime CFB. Thanks, guys.
Kind of jumping into some of those stats and rankings, like, is the problem Dabo? They have every recruit they want. Looking at the last recruiting ranking since Trevor Lawrence in 2019, now for 2020, third in recruiting. 2021, fifth in recruiting. 2022, 10th. 23, 11th. 2024, 11th again. But then this last season, 2025, they dropped to 26 behind TCU at 25 and Georgia Tech, fellow ACC opponent. I think the only other one above them is Miami and FSU, but Georgia Tech jumped them and they're at 21. So the question is Clemson just not as appealing to these recruits anymore? Like, is Dabo not the coach people want to play for anymore? Look at the transfer portal, like Chase said, it has killed Clemson. Since 2020, they've had 6 total transfers come in. Most of these top 25 teams, most of these top 50 teams, most teams in college football have 10, 15, 20 transfers come in every season. And looking at Clemson's transfers, they had a quarterback come in 2022, didn't use him. 2023, didn't even sniff the field. They did bring in 4 this year, which is nothing, like I said, compared to these top schools. Now, the problem is what they have lost. Yes, teams usually lose 20 and gain 20 to where they're pretty net even. But Clemson has lost 6 the last since 2020, and since 2020 they have lost 56 players. 56 versus 6. That's a 50-player net difference. Personally, I am starting to believe that Dabo either needs to buy into this new college football era where you need to use the transfer portal, you need to use NIL more, you need to use it to your advantage. As much as I hate to say it because I'm not a fan of it, but you have to use it. You see all these top teams benefiting off it. He either needs to do that and adapt to the new football, or he needs to go, in my opinion, to where it's like, obviously, yeah, they're still going 9-3, 10-2, but they're just not winning these big games anymore. It's kind of like James Franklin at Penn State. I mean, Dabo has a couple natties under his belt, but as of lately, they just can't keep up with any of these top teams.
Yeah, it's when they're playing these top 10 teams, they just can't keep up. And we saw Georgia last year, 31-3 to start the year. We just saw LSU walk in there and beat them at home. And you could argue, I mean, I'm not saying, I don't mean this out of context and in every single facet, but Clemson's entering a Miami phase where they're still going to get these blue chip recruits. I mean, the recruiting has gone down overall, but they're still going to, they can still compete at a high level with recruiting from high school level guys. They've got money, they got NIL. They can still probably handle that, but they're going to be a team that's talented as crap, and they're still going to lose 2 to 4 games every season because something isn't right. Whether that's in the program overall, the locker room, the coaching staff, it's in order to have success, you have to have all those things in line, and something is not in line. And obviously, we can kind of point a finger and be like, I think that might be Dabo. But you never know. But yeah, I don't think the talent is the reason they're losing these kind of games. From 2011 to 2020, they lost 2 games to unranked teams. 9 years, actually 10 years, 10 seasons, they lost 2 games to unranked teams. Since the start of 2021, they have lost 8 unranked games. So if you want to argue if the Clemson Dynasty is still alive and well, it is not. Clemson's not gone as a program. No, I'm sure they can have, in the next few years, they're going to have bounce back years where they're good. They can make the 12-team playoff. But the dynasty, the dominance is over. Especially, I think the ACC is so competitive this year. Since 2020, they've won 2 ACC championships, but they're not dominating like they once were. And so, I don't know. I think it's over. Sned, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, no, like you said, I don't know if it is a talent thing, but I mean, when you're just relying on new recruits every year with little talent, like not little talent, little experience, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. And like, yeah, maybe it isn't Dabo, or maybe it is, or maybe it's the program or the other coaching staff. I don't know. But something's definitely up with Clemson because you still get these recruits, but then you don't even touch the transfer portal. And you're starting to lose games once this transfer portal became a big thing. To where, yeah, I think the dynasty is kind of over, honestly. I think they'll still be a top 25 team, top 25 caliber team because of all the talent. But, I mean, you see the drop-off in even recruiting rankings to where I think maybe these high school recruits just don't want to play for Dabo or Clemson anymore. To where it's crazy to say that because all of my growing up years when I really started getting into college football in like 2010, 2011, 2012, they were a top team. I always liked to watch them. But yeah, like Chase said, they'll still be present, they'll still be relevant, but they just aren't the same Clemson team.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Guys, hit us up in the comments on our Instagram on this video. If you guys think otherwise, we'd love to hear your opinions. We are fans just like you. And we'd love to hear you guys out. But thank you guys for tuning in to Showtime College Football. Listen to our podcasts, our long-form podcasts on Spotify and Apple Music. Love you guys.
Signing off from Showtime College Football. Hey, Sko Ducks, beat the Beavers, baby. Beaver Hate Week.